The lobby smelled like roasted coffee and rain on marble. Chandeliers hummed. Shoes whispered. Deals floated in the air like perfume. Emma carried a silver tray close to her chest. Her hands trembled just enough to make the cups sing a soft, nervous clink. She was the tea girl. The invisible one. The one who smiled, bowed, and disappeared. Colored Almanzor, tailored suit, oud cologne, watch like a small galaxy, stood with his entourage near the glass wall. Beside him, Sophia, calm eyes scanning everything. Robert, a foreign advisor with a grin like a paper cut. John, a young assistant who still polished his courage. Michael, the chef, peeking from the restaurant doors with flour on his sleeves, curious. "Sir, coffee," Emma said, voice steady, tray balanced. Khalid looked at her, amused. "You're new." "Yes," she said. "First week." His gaze slid to the contracts in Robert's leather folder. Then back. "And what else do you do? Besides pouring?" Emma swallowed. The room slowed. The AC sighed. Someone's heels clicked like a clock. "I speak 9 languages," she replied. Robert chuckled. 9? That's cute. Khalid's smile sharpened. 9 languages. He angled his head. "Say good morning in 3. Buongiorno," Emma said. "Dob rano." John blinked. "Whoa. Beginner's luck," Robert murmured. "YouTube Polyglot." Emma held Khalid's gaze. "Try me." He switched to French. "Tu es parler chaud de toi." "Je suis chaud," she answered lightly. "Je tremble seulement parce que le plateau est en argent, pas parce que j'ai peur." A small ripple. Sophia's eyebrow rose. Michael grinned. Khalid leaned in. His voice dropped into Turkish. "Kak yandasın?" "Yirmi iki. Ama hikayeler daha yalim," she said, and the word hikayeler, stories, sat warm on her tongue. Robert waved a hand. "Parlor tricks. Let's focus." Khalid angled his body to go, bored now, ready to return to numbers. Emma felt the moment slipping. She felt that door close. And something in her, some stubborn little star, refused to dim. "Kawak ya ibni Ummi Salma," she whispered in a soft Najdi lilt, setting his cup down. "Coffee for you, son of Mother Salma." Khalid stopped. The glass wall reflected his face as if it belonged to someone else. The lobby sounds thinned to threads. His fingers hovered above the cup and didn't touch. No one used that phrase. Not strangers. Not staff. Not here. He turned back slowly. The calm left his eyes. Something raw stood there instead. "What did you call me?" he asked, in Arabic now, voice dry. "Say it again." Emma swallowed. "Ibn Salma." Silence slid across the marble. Sophia's lips parted. John looked from face to face. Robert frowned, lost. Michael took one step out of the kitchen, as if the smell of memory had reached him, too. Khalid's throat worked. "How do you know my mother's name?" he asked. Emma steadied the tray. The cups were suddenly very loud. She took a breath. Then another. The air tasted like rain and secrets. "Because," she said, and the room braced itself, "she taught me a lullaby." How could the tea girl possibly know a lullaby only his mother sang? Emma remembered the stairwell first. The concrete steps. The leaking pipe that tapped like a metronome. The way her breath fogged on winter mornings back when the city felt too big and money felt too small. She'd sit there on breaks with a borrowed phone and a cheap headset, whispering after strangers in YouTube videos until their words turned into hers. She didn't go to school past 16. Evelyn from the neighborhood library had taught her to love sound. "Mouths are instruments," Evelyn would say, tapping the air with a pencil. "Every language is a tune. Listen before you speak." It became Emma's rule. Listen first. Speak second. In the lobby, she kept listening. Tourists drifted in like tides. One afternoon, Sophia struggled with a French supplier on the phone. Emma leaned in with a respectful, "Pardonnez-moi, madam," and smoothed the issue in 3 sentences. Another day, a lost couple tumbled through the doors, breathless, Japanese flashing across their hands. Emma drew a map in the air with quiet words, then showed them the lift. They bowed 3 times. She bowed back. John noticed. "You're a genius," he whispered, cheeks pink. "How?" "People teach you if you let them," Emma said, a little smile. Tonight, she'd heard more than words. She'd heard Robert's partner on a speaker call murmuring in Russian, half buried under the English chatter. "Swap the attachment. The footnote will go unnoticed." She'd heard the soft hiss of paper, the silk sound of a sleight of hand. She'd watched Robert's fingers switch 2 near-identical contracts, 1 page heavier, the numbers like wolves wearing sheep sweaters. And she heard Khalid, calm, self-assured, call every shot as if he'd never been tricked in his life. Should she say something? Would anyone believe the tea girl? Her heart drummed. Her palms sweated against the tray's cold rim. The lobby clock ticked like a dare. The lullaby floated back, the one Evelyn had recorded for Emma on a cheap MP3 when life felt mean. A woman's voice. Grainy. Warm. Naam Wayabni, Waye Nor Alain, sleep, my son, light of my eyes. In a gentle Najdi sway. The singer had introduced herself on that clip, Salma. From Ul Qasim. For those who miss home. Emma had learned the song by heart. Some nights she sang it to the city itself, because the city wouldn't sleep and neither would she. She hadn't known the singer's son would one day stand in front of her with a world on his wrist. Now he stared at her as if she'd pulled the moon down. "Where did you hear that? Tell me the truth." Emma lowered her voice. "In a community library." Evelyn kept recordings from volunteers. Mrs. Salma read stories to refugees. She sang into Evelyn's old recorder. "For the children who don't have mothers nearby," she said. Sophia's eyes softened. John clutched his tablet closer. Michael swore under his breath, flour dust rising like a cloud. Robert made a scoffing sound. "This is ridiculous. Can we focus on the contract?" Emma's fingers tightened. She met Khalid's gaze. "Sir, before you sign, may I see the last page? Just for a second." She heard the Russian again in her mind. She knew what she'd find. Khalid studied her. A storm crossed his features. And then, resolve. He slid the document toward her. What hidden line could a tea girl possibly point out that would stop a $1 million deal? Paper is dangerous when it looks innocent. Emma knew that. So she read with her fingertips first, feeling the weight, feeling the skim where the page had been lifted, replaced. She traced the lower corner where the fiber felt new, not worn like the rest. She breathed once. Twice. The page gleamed with pretty English. Below, in hair-thin type, a line of kanji and katakana. "The guarantor's liability is." Emma's mouth went dry. She lifted her eyes to Khalid. "This footnote binds you personally if the shell company fails," she said, quietly. "It's Japanese jurisdiction. Arbitration in Tokyo. You lose home advantage. It's not in the copy you reviewed yesterday." Robert's smile thinned. "What are we doing? Taking legal advice from a barista?" Sophia stepped in. "Can you translate it fully?" Emma nodded. "If the subsidiary defaults, the guarantor will bear full responsibility for the principal and accrued interest, enforceable through foreign assets." She looked at Khalid. "Your assets." John's tablet pinged a notification. His eyes darted to Robert's partner on the screen, glitching. A slip of Russian now, no longer careful. "She sees it." Khalid's jaw tightened. He spoke to Emma in Arabic, low, testing, "Wina Talamti? How did you learn this?" She answered, with a small, embarrassed laugh. "The stairwells." Robert clapped once, sarcastic. "Bravo. Marvelous story. But unless you're also a lawyer." "Get me my counsel," Khalid said, steel entering his tone. "Now." The air cracked. Phones dialed. Voices became wires. Security edged in, unsure who the threat was. Michael left the kitchen fully now, apron still on, arms dusted white. "She's the real thing," he said to anyone who'd listen. Heard her explain a spice shipment in Punjabi to a driver yesterday. Perfect accent. Freaked me out. Sophia's gaze stayed on Emma. A soft nod. Keep going. Emma shifted the tray to her left hand. The cups chimed like quiet bells. She glanced at the second-to-last page, where Robert's signature waited for a friend. Also here, she said, tapping a phrase in neat French. Clause de non-responsibility, but with a hidden exception. You shoulder the reputational damage if the partner is sanctioned in the next year. Khalid's eyes flashed. Who drafted this? His voice could cut glass. Robert lifted both palms, smooth as oil. It's standard. Our global partners require. A new voice cut in from the phone, crisp Mandarin. We're not ready to sign. Counsel on Khalid's side, fast, skeptical. Emma answered without thinking. Please check the last line. On the speaker, a surprised laugh. Who is that? The tea girl, Khalid said. He almost smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. The one everyone underestimated. Robert's face hardened. He leaned toward Emma, voice a hush with teeth. Put the paper down. Emma didn't move. She could feel her legs want to run. She stayed. Khalid placed his palm, not on her, but near, quiet and steady like an anchor. She's under my protection. A hush fell. Even the chandeliers seemed to listen. Emma set the page back on the table, careful as if returning a blade to a sheath. Khalid turned to her again. If you're right, he said, English returning, say one sentence that proves you're not guessing. Emma lifted her chin. The Russian on the call told him to switch the attachment. He assumed you wouldn't catch the Japanese. He underestimated your mother's lullaby more than me. Khalid went still. What does a lullaby have to do with a contract that could ruin a man? We think lullabies are for sleep. Sometimes they're alarms. Mrs. Salma didn't just sing, Emma said, words threading through the tension. She read. Every Thursday at the little library next to the laundromat. Evelyn organized it. People came, refugees, new workers, kids from too many places. She'd switch tongues like she was moving sunlight across a floor. Arabic, Urdu, Swahili, a bit of Turkish. Once even some Tashilhit she said a friend taught her. She said language makes strangers feel like neighbors. Khalid's face softened, then tightened again. That sounds like her, he whispered. She never said where she volunteered. She didn't say her last name either, Emma replied. But one day her phone rang while she was packing books. She answered, Khalid? I already ate. She laughed. She told me, bossy son. A shy smile. I thought it was sweet. The memory brought heat to Khalid's eyes. For a moment he wasn't a millionaire. He was a son. Emma reached into the small pocket of her apron and unfolded a thin library card. It was old now, edges soft, laminate bubbled. Evelyn gave me this when the library closed during the pandemic, she said. Said, keep something that taught you to listen. The card's signature, in looping Arabic script, Salma. Sophia leaned in. May I? She read the back, then handed it to Khalid without a word. He took it like it was glass. He pressed his thumb over the name. His breath stuttered. Mr. Almanso, Robert interjected sharply. With respect, personal sentiment is clouding the room. We have partners waiting. Khalid's head lifted. The softness left. My partners can wait for what is right. He slid his phone toward the MIC council. He said in Arabic now, fluent and fast, verify the Japanese footnote. Check the arbitration venue. Pull the draft from yesterday. Compare the hash values. Now. On the speaker, paper hissed, keys rattled, voices became tools. A minute stretched like rope. Michael, unable to stand still, muttered, if this footnote is dirty, I'm sending the guy a lifetime ban from my kitchen. He glared at Robert. John finally found his voice. Sir, I also noticed a mismatch in the metadata timestamp when I opened the PDF this morning. I thought it was my software. He looked at Emma, grateful. Guess it wasn't. Robert's smile returned. Thin. Clerical differences. Nothing material. Sophia, Voice like cool water, asked, "Who sent the last-minute update?" Robert lifted a shoulder. "Admin." "Name?" Sophia pressed. "Michael," Robert said carelessly, and the chef barked a laugh so sharp it bounced off the marble. Khalid almost smiled. Almost. The speaker phone crackled. Counsel returned, Mandarin switching to English for the room, 2 mismatched footnotes. Arbitration moved. Personal guarantee inserted. Timestamp changed an hour before this meeting. This is not standard. A soundless beat. The kind that swallows noise. Khalid's gaze slid to Robert. "Who are you working for?" he asked, tone flat as slate. Robert didn't blink. "For you," he said evenly. "Always." "Then you won't mind if we void this and call every party again," Khalid said, turning to Sophia. "In French first. Then Japanese. Then Turkish." He glanced at Emma, something like respect lighting. "And Arabic, the way my mother would want me to." Sophia nodded. "On it." Khalid looked back to Emma. "One more question," he said softly. "If you could say one thing to my mother right now, what would it be?" Emma's throat tightened. She closed her eyes, and in a voice that wove tenderness with courage, she sang the first line of the lullaby into the quiet. "Naam Wayabni, sleep, my son." Khalid's hand covered his mouth. The man who was never surprised looked undone. What will Khalid do now? Choose pride and image, or choose the T-girl's truth and everything it demands? Morning arrived as if the lobby had exhaled. Contracts were paused, calls rescheduled, partners rebriefed. The scent of cardamom rose with the new coffee Michael brewed himself, as if cooking could cleanse a room. Khalid stood before Emma, no entourage now. Just the man. "I owe you an apology," he said. "For the laugh. For assuming less." Emma shook her head. "You don't owe me. Just listen to more girls who carry trays." A small smile touched his mouth. "Deal." Sophia approached with a fresh folder. Clean, white, honest. "We've drafted a fairness review," she said. "Also, an idea." Khalid glanced between them. "Say it." Emma's pulse quickened. "A scholarship," she blurted, then steadied. "Not for me. For anyone who wants to do what Evelyn did. A place where languages are bridges. We could call it the Lullaby Fund. Microgrants for interpreters in clinics, libraries, shelters. People like Mrs. Salma used to be." Khalid blinked. Something warm moved in his expression, like a window opening. "You don't want a job?" Emma hesitated. The safe answer waited on her tongue. But she saw the stairwell again. The leaking pipe. The borrowed phone. She saw another girl, somewhere, listening to a city and trying to belong. "I want work," she said honestly. "But I want that more." John, standing behind Sophia, whispered, "That's beautiful." He looked at Emma, cheeks pink again. "You're kind of terrifying, you know that." Michael clapped his flowery hands. "If it happens, I'll feed them all. Free. Don't tell accounting." Khalid laughed then. "A real one. We'll build it," he said. "In my mother's name. And yours." He turned to Sophia. "Make it global. Today we almost signed away the future because we didn't listen. Let the fix be louder." Robert hovered at the edge, stripped of his grin. Security would handle the rest. The law would finish the sentence he started. That story no longer belonged in this room. Khalid faced Emma again. "One more thing," he said. "You said 9 languages. I've heard at least 6. What's the 9th? Emma tilted her head. The lobby breathed. The city outside glittered like a keyboard of windows. "Silence," she said. "It's the one that lets the others in." A soft hush fell, the good kind. The kind that mends. Khalid nodded slowly. "My mother used to say that. Silence is the doorway." Emma smiled. "She taught me." The automatic doors swished. New guests arrived with wet umbrellas and tired hopes. Emma lifted her tray. Her hands were steady now. She looked at Khalid, no longer a stranger. He looked back, no longer a man above the sky. "Ready?" she asked, with a playful tilt. He glanced at the lobby, at the people, at the work ahead. Ready, he said. Emma slipped into motion, gliding through voices that no longer felt like noise, but like songs waiting to be heard. The chandeliers hummed. Footsteps echoed. The wind outside whispered at the glass like someone telling a secret. And somewhere, in a tiny apartment with a closed library card in a drawer, a lullaby turned into a door opening. Hook, if you were Emma standing there with a tray and a brave idea, would you choose the safe job, or the risk that might change a city? Have you ever judged someone too quickly, and then been humbled by what you learned? What would the Lullaby Fund look like in your city? Extended thinking.